The Old Bull and Young Cap, Boston Sports Podcast, on our case of the Mondays a little bit with the Patriots, and a lot to talk about with the Bruins and the Celtics. So thanks for everybody who taking the time to join us on this Monday. It's a nice Monday up here, Dad. This might be the last really nice day we have this year. It was in the 60s, beautiful outside. It was not bad at all. So first, we're going to talk about the Patriots. This was a weird game, Dad, and you the Old Bulls predicted this. Drake May is going to find ways to just win us games, and I think this was Drake May winning us games. I'm not going to say it was perfect. He had a few throws that he tried to pull a Mac Jones on and lose it for us, but eventually he made the plays we needed to make. The defense was playing pretty darn well as well. 9 sacks, which is absolutely absurd. So how do you feel about that game, Dad? Is it bittersweet? Is it completely sweet? Is it more bitter? What do you got?
Well, the pros and cons are obvious. The cons are we went from the first overall pick to the 7th. Like, holy cow, 1 win. And just like that, we're picking 7s, But there's a lot of pros here. Drake May getting his first real win. The Jets win counts because he started the game, but he didn't finish it. So as far as I'm concerned, this is his real one. And, not completely what I envisioned, though. He did make some great plays. He was a key element to that game, but that was really the defense who won that game. I mean, giving up 3 points, they made Chicago look as bad as everyone, was saying that they have been lately. So, the defense, did they get their act together, or was that just Chicago's that bad? Hopefully they got their act together. The coaching staff looked like they actually had a clue. The way they handled the end of the half, finally, they didn't botch that up. So, I mean, is this a sign of things to come, or is that a fluke? So these are all positives. If the franchise keeps going, worse enough.
Yeah. So. All right. So the old Dad, I heard pretty much everything you're saying, but it was super tough to hear you. Your connection's gone super bad, deteriorated in a major way. So I don't know if there's something you can fix on that. But I think what you just summed up is we've touched the stove and we are nervous as fans about whether that was a turning point or a bait and switch. And I'm super nervous because I think we definitely could have beat that team by a lot more. It does suck that it was, it wasn't as big of a win. I think we could have had. 9 sacks is pretty insane. It did stink to get so many. It just seems like we just don't have the talent around Drake May, and I know we harp on it every week, but the receivers are just a crazy difference between what Chicago has at receiver. I was looking to put some bets down, and I was trying to figure out who Chicago's 3rd string wide receiver is, but they've got Keenan Allen, they've got DJ Moore, they got Rome Odunze, they got Cole Kmet, who's a very solid tight end, and then of course they got Swift in the backfield. That offense is absolutely loaded. I understand the Old Bull did tell me that their offensive line is probably worse than ours. I haven't read too much about that. I don't know how much of that is a Caleb Williams symptom of him just being lost back there, because I'll tell you, he had a lot of time on a few snaps and he just held the ball until we got there, which was wonderful for us. But it seemed like he lacked that internal clock that I think you've given Drake May a pretty rough time on the internal clock, but it seems like his is way better than Caleb Williams, because the instances of it were just few and far between compared to Caleb Williams. Did you notice that, Dad, the pocket presence difference between Drake May and Caleb Williams?
I did. Could you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you better. And you're starting to look a little bit better, but we'll see.
Oh, so I was coming in choppy and all that?
Oh, yeah, really bad.
So anyway, hopefully, I don't know, it came through a little bit.
So pocket presence it's pretty between those two PPs. Yeah.
It's pretty refreshing, right? Caleb Williams was tabbed as the overall number 1 pick, generational
Holmes
talent,
2.0.
can't miss. And man, he just I can't help but feel better after what we have. Like you said, Matt, his weapons are far superior. As you saw, no, his offensive line is as bad as ours, if not somehow worse. Absolutely awful. But as you said as well, he did have time on some of those, and he's just trying to be a hero, holding the ball too long. And we did see May throw away a few balls, which is encouraging. Not taking sacks, not taking a hit. So, I mean, it's natural for you're a star rookie, you're a top 5 pick to want to make plays, but you got to know when to fold them. And man, let me tell you, Drake May is way ahead of Caleb Williams, because that guy, he looked lost in the pocket, like you said. And God, I can't, I can't help but feel good about our guy.
Yeah,
he still drives me nuts. He's still taking on tacklers. Like, stop doing that, dude. Like, I don't want to see his season cut short because he separated his shoulder or, broke his collarbone or something like that. Stop taking on tacklers. Stop trying to be Josh Allen. That's the one part of Josh Allen's game if he was on my team, I couldn't stand. I'd be going insane every time, holding my breath that he's taking on linebackers who are, 20 pounds taller than him. I mean, 20 pounds more than him. It's insane.
Listen, I completely agree. Jeff Unknown, you're in here, and we talked about this before the episode started. If you want to join us when we start talking about the Bruins and the Celtics, let me know, and I'll send you the link. We're not going to be talking about the Patriots too much longer here. Okay, a couple things. Number one, I heard this midweek after the Titans game. At the end of that Titans game, Dad, if you're a Patriots fan and you're looking to win as many games as you can this season, do you think we should have kicked the field goal or went for 2?
Oh, I wanted them to go for 2.
I wanted as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that right. Yeah. Did you hear what Gerard Mayo had about that? About that situation? Did you hear what Gerard Mayo said?
He was all over the place. It's almost like
to it. He doesn't want to talk about. Like, I was listening to the sports radio, and how do you not just lie? How do you not just say it's my call? That was my decision. Deal with it. For him to say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I want this. I want that," that just scares the crap out of me, because there's nobody in the entire Patriots organization who should have a say in whether we go for a extra point or 2-point conversion other than your coach. And that was super big for me. That was a major part of this week. And then I sent you the text about him not knowing which way the wind was going in overtime.
Yeah.
Well,
not a good look.
Just that guy just shoves his foot in his mouth left and right. So yeah. Are you any higher after that game on Gerard Mayo? Because I am so far low on Gerard
He has
Mayo.
to start learning fast. I mean, he's the polar opposite of Belichick. Like, I wasn't crazy about the way Belichick handled the media too. So, he's being the complete opposite. Like, meet in the middle, dude. Like, you can give us. You don't have to be a complete jerk like Belichick was to everybody, but you don't have to just vomit at the mouth like all these words, and then he gets caught in these lies and situations, and it's like everything you say is going to be dissected. Everything. Just be careful. Just give us what we need. Give it to us straight. Give us facts, or don't, like you said, Matt. Just keep your mouth shut and say, "I'm just not going to comment on that." He just buries himself with that stuff. But I mean, I still don't have faith in this coaching staff. So this was a good game for them. I mean, a really good game. They were on the road. They got a rookie quarterback, and
very tough defense.
They won it against a very tough defense. They won it pretty easily, and our coaching staff was clearly better than their coaching staff. So, is it a one-off? Is it a one-game thing? We'll have to see, I guess. They get the Rams coming to town, another beatable team, kind of. They're not the Rams that we remember, but they get a legit quarterback. They got 2 legit wide receivers. Let's see if the defense looks similar this week. They don't have to hold them to 3 points, but let's see if the defense can hold that Rams team to, 21 or under. And if our offense can get, in the upper 20s, and let's see if how he goes up against McVay, because McVay's a legit top 3 coach in the league.
This is when it gets real for the Patriots, because after this game, it's Rams, Dolphins back with Tua, Colts are reeling, Cardinals just smoked the Jets, then the Bills.
Cardinals are good.
Yeah, Chargers, they just They just beat the Titans, who beat us, and they beat them pretty handily. The Bills, and then that's the end of the season. So there's not too many cupcakes. The Colts are in a weird way right now, so maybe the Colts, but yeah, I mean, we'll see.
All right. Well,
Any other
let's move
Bruins?
on.
I'm sorry. Any other Patriots takes, Dad?
No, let's jump on the Bruins.
All right. So the Bruins. There was a big game this weekend that everyone was, kind of clamoring for. The tickets for this game were actually pretty inexpensive, and that was the Ottawa Senators game, Dad. Do we want to touch on that, or do we want to touch on the Flames first?
I mean, it was Allmark versus Swayman. That was the obvious draw. It was fun to watch from that regard, but oh man, the rest of that game, holy crap. It's just, the same old problems. I think we had 15 shots in regulation against a garbage Ottawa Senators defense and just a bunch of young forwards. It's so infuriating. This team is just clearly quit on their coach. And I'm not putting all the blame on the coach. The players need to be damn professionals. They get paid. Like, quitting on the coach is not acceptable. But I am so sick of this entire organization. No one has underachieved with the opportunities they have, like this Boston Bruins team. And, here we go again. Sending Patriots down to the minor leagues.
Going right for it, huh?
I can't stand this. And I checked on Lysel. He's doing awful down in Providence. Merkelov is not even a point of game player. He's like just under that. I am so sick of this organization and their mediocrity, and they're underachieving. They've been in position to win Stanley Cups where they just needed, another player or two, or they just needed the right coach. Or, we're talking about having Bergeron, Chara, Krejci, Marchand, all in their prime together, and to come away with one cup and failed, just season after another is absolutely infuriating. I'm getting sick of all this crap.
Yeah, and I think, to add to what you said, Dad, regarding shots, it looks like we had 7 in the first period. We had 8 in the second period,
and then 0.
And then I think we had 0 in the third period. How can you not generate a shot in the third period? Oh wow, Kurt Ram, this is what we're looking for, Kurt. You could have saved me some clicks. No shots after the 15-minute point in the second period. Horrible. Kurt, that reminds me of last year's playoffs. The guy, like, it was almost like a drinking game. How many periods could they go without getting, more than a handful of shots? And some periods they got completely blanked. So, I mean, Allmark, we really didn't test him. Allmark had a relatively easy game. They came out like game busters. The first, I think, like 10 minutes or so, we had a bunch of great opportunities. Couldn't finish, of course, because that's just, our Achilles heel. And then Allmark gets to walk away. Swayman had to save 32 shots in that game, which is an absolute ton.
I don't know.
Yeah. So,
man, who cares about the damn game? I don't care about the stupid game. I care about the way this organization's run. This organization is complete garbage, and I've been having a back and forth with Peter. Peter the Padge was like, well, Patriots really hasn't been, playing really well lately. I'm sorry. There's a reason why Lowry and Patra are not performing offensively like they did last year. These kids are absolutely petrified, horrified of making a mistake. They're like, do I take this offensive opportunity? Am I going to be able to get back on defense? Because if I don't, I'm going to get benched or I'm going to get sent down. Oh, should I, this opportunity, like this, I got to make sure I back check. Oh, if I turn this puck over, I don't want to take this. You can tell they're playing completely hesitant, without confidence. They're not playing loose. And that is a product of this crap organization. You want to show that you're tough? Be tough on Pasternak, the turnover machine. Be tough on Marchand, your captain. Let me see you be tough on some veterans. McAvoy, who plays like garbage sometimes. You got to be tough with the rookies? You didn't back check. Oh, yeah, another turnover. Yeah. What the hell are you showing there? And now you throw Patra down in freaking Providence again. So next time he comes up, he's going to be like, I gotta make sure we're going to turn him into a defensive third liner. That's what we're going to do. That's what this garbage organization does. We're never going to have any scoring. You look at what Winnipeg's doing. Like teams like that, even that Utah team, they're young. They can score because they don't hold a gun to their head that, let me tell you something, kid. You make a mistake, you're out.
Yep. Listen, so unlike the Bruins, we get young talent involved on this podcast. So I'm bringing in Jeff Unknown, our young talent, our Patra of the podcast. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
Jeff, I don't know if you've heard my dad's rant there, and I think he's taking it a bit outside of the games and more about the personnel. How do you Jeff? Number one, did you know they sent Patra down? Did you see that news?
Yeah, I just saw that about 20 minutes before the podcast started. I was disappointed.
Reaction, because I was incredibly disappointed.
I was disappointed. I think he has so much potential, and he's one of the guys that's out there giving it 110% every shift. Like he's one of the ones that I feel like deserves to be on the ice. And I agree with what you were saying about sort of giving up on the coach. I don't know what was going on, but the forecheck was just terrible, and we couldn't hold the zone. And oh my goodness, that was not a fun game to watch.
Yeah, and talking about coming down on the veterans. So my dad mentioned, the Oval mentioned, you're going hard on Patra. So Patra had 3 giveaways. Not a good game against Ottawa Senators, but Hampus Lindholm had 6 giveaways that game in 22 minutes, which is a freaking lot, especially for a top line defenseman. And he's still getting almost the most shifts in the game, right behind McAvoy. So, I mean, it's incredibly disappointing for me as a fan, and I don't know how many fans this fits, but if I miss any part of the game and I go for the box score, the first name I check is Patra, because he's what gives me a good amount of hope.
Yeah,
going into the future. Like, I guess he's the most exciting player for me on this Bruins team. Is that similar with you guys, or no?
Yeah, he's scared to death. The guy's scared to death to make a mistake. They put garbage wingers with him. They don't give the kid a damn chance. I'm sick of all this crap. I'm sick of the way they treat young players. Geez, why are the Bruins always old? Why do they always run out of gas in the playoffs? Because we don't know how to nurture young players. We don't know how to introduce them into the fold. It's just absolutely infuriating. And I can't stand the fact that they have sent him down now. So the next time he comes up, he's even going to be more scared. He's going to be more defensive minded. And they're really just going to hold him back offensively because the kid's going to, I can't make a turnover. I got to back check. He's going to be just horrified to get anywhere near the net and create offensive opportunities.
The Opal's just in a loop right now. Sorry about that.
No, I agree. He's not wrong, though. Like, it's true. The thing I would like to know, I don't know if you have the stats, is how many giveaways did Pasta have in that game? So, because if we're talking about giveaways, I think he would be number 1.
So I don't know how ESPN, it seems weird. It says he had 0 giveaways in that game. I don't.
Not true.
That's not passing the eye test. So I don't know about that. So I don't know if they are discrediting or miscrediting those giveaways. But 3 to Patra is kind of rough in 11 minutes. If that's true, I don't know where they're getting those metrics. But least shifts in the team. Tyler Johnson, they signed him. He's getting a good amount of playing time. I see him out there with Pastrnak and everything like that. I don't know why they're not putting those same resources into our young talent. But that's Monty. I think Monty is very similar to Gerard Mayo, where it seems like they're not playing to win games. They're playing to save their job, right? Which is how do I not get embarrassed as much as possible? So the ownership doesn't take notice, and the ownership just keeps making billions of dollars, and they move on. And I mean, I guess you do that by sticking with these older guys. I mean, it's frustrating as a fan. And I think so the other big thing is the power plays, right? I think right now we're on pace to break the record for the amount of penalties giving up. Any thoughts on that? I know it's kind of more of a statement than a question. Any thoughts on the penalties? You guys probably watch the games a bit more than I do. It's tough with the kids. I watch a lot of highlights and stuff. Are the penalties because we're old and slow? Are the penalties because it's poor coaching? What would you attribute the amount of penalties we can't? Dad, you want to go first?
Oh, Jeff, if you want, you can go first. I don't want to stay down there just in case.
Yeah, Jeff, go ahead.
I was going to say really lazy stick penalties. So many undisciplined penalties. Like Zadorov is driving me absolutely bonkers when it comes to penalties he's taking. I know he's trying to be the tough guy that stands up for the team, but I don't remember if it was against Ottawa. Maybe it was against Toronto, but he had already taken the penalty and he was like slamming the guy's face into the ice. Come on, man. Like, what are you doing right now? That's so stupid. And so often it feels like just lazy, undisciplined penalties. We almost took a too many men on the ice penalty the other day. So for me, I think it goes back to what Old Bull was saying about giving up on the coach, because when you don't have that passion to play, that's when you're going to take those undisciplined penalties.
And my number one take on why they're getting all these penalties is connected with what Jeff is saying, which is they made a conscious effort to create the largest team in NHL history. And these guys, they're large beings who can't fly. So when you're big and you're just slower than everyone else flying around, it's just natural for the stick work, like Jeff said, stick penalties, like reaching for guys, grabbing for guys, because you can't keep up with them. This is what they signed up for. This is what the front office signed up for. They said, we're just going to make sure nobody on the roster is under 220 pounds and everyone's 6'4". Okay, great. So if we're going to a street fight and a gang fight, give the Bruins a Stanley Cup. Give them the Stanley Cup right now. We'll win it. Okay. Yeah. But, in actual hockey where speed is, absolutely crucial and maybe the number one element besides skill, actual skill, it's just brutal. So, yeah. No wonder why we're reaching, we're hooking, we're doing all that crap, getting penalties, because we are so big and slow.
Yep, and that's the way it's been since. I remember my dad yelling about this way back 2010, 2011, 2012. This is one of the things you were so frustrated about with Chara in his later years. As he's big and slow, My dad wanted that West Coast offense so bad. He wanted those fast Western Conference games, and it just seems like the Bruins are never gonna. We're like the Steelers with defense, right? It's just that's just your MO. So real quick, Kurt Ram, he said they sat Pasta. He spoke about accountability, and then he came back to play the same exact game. These guys have clearly given up on Montgomery. I don't know who in the front office hasn't seen it. I don't know what they're waiting for, but I completely agree. This team needs a jolt. It's early in the season. I think there's no better time. And you don't want to wait till later because this team can make a imprint in the playoffs. I think so. The front office shouldn't give up.
The thing is,
go ahead.
They're bailing the players out for that. I want the coach gone too, but I mean, it's really like bailing the players out. And you know what? Do the coaching change now. You know why I want it done now? Because if it doesn't turn these stiffs around, then you have time before the trade deadline to get rid of half of them.
Yep.
Do the coaching change now. Say, all right, boys, you clearly wanted the coach out. Get a new guy in here. Let's see what you're made of. And if they look like the same bums, get rid of half of them at the trade deadline. Start getting some youth in here and sacrifice a year or two if you have to. I mean, well, we can't compete with these upper echelon teams with with us playing like this.
No, I completely agree. Okay, so Old Bull's got to go in 4 minutes.
Yes,
we're gonna jump into the Celtics. Jeff is a Celtics fan. Jeff, first question, did you get a moment to watch at least the highlights or hear the headlines around that Bucks game?
No. Honestly, the last game I saw was the loss to the Warriors.
So there was something crazy happened there, Jeff. And after this, maybe you can go find the clip. But I think the thing that everybody's talking about is the fact that Giannis threw a crazy elbow right at Jaylen Brown's head, got an offensive foul, should have been a flagrant. I don't know how they don't call that a flagrant. If you do that in like a pickup game on the street, you're probably going to end up fist fighting. You don't throw elbows like that. So find that clip. Then they're running down the, Kurt, thanks Old Boy. What's up, Kurt? Then they're walking back up the court, and Giannis goes like this to give him a high five. And when Jaylen Brown goes to return the high five, Giannis goes too slow, and then he puts out his hand again. And I don't know if Jaylen, hits it away or something, but Giannis tries to do it to him again. And it's like, you just tried to give this guy a concussion. You did a dirty play, and then you try and too slow him. And it's like all the Bucks fans are like, ha, 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 that's funny. A lot of NBA fans are saying, ha, ha, that's funny. But as a Celtics fan, I'm kind of pissed off about it. So, Jeff, I'll let you stew on that. Old Bull, what are your thoughts on that situation?
It's another reason why I love Jaylen Brown so much, right? And let's not forget that Giannis put his foot underneath Tatum in the middle of a three-pointer in his landing spot and almost broke his ankle, okay? All right, so this little puke. I love Jaylen Brown because every time someone bullies Tatum because he's not an alpha, there's Jaylen Brown to come to his defense. There's Jaylen Brown. He's not concerned about making buddies with everybody else in the league. I love Jason Tatum. He's my favorite player on the team because he's the best player on the team. But I wish he had more of an edge of him. That's not him. He's just not. He's soft in that regard, like having that edge when it comes to other players. But Jaylen Brown don't give a crap. He doesn't need to be your friend if you're on the other team. He don't give a crap. And he'll get in people's faces for Tatum. He's done it several times. Yep. And once again, he calls him out after the game. Yep. Calls him out after the game like, Giannis, you're a child. You're just a little kid, which a stupid little kid. You know, Giannis basically went to shake his hand like, hey, I'm sorry for that. Sorry for, elbowing you. And Jaylen went to slap him like, okay, man. And he pulls it away like a freaking clown. It's just unbelievable. And thank God we have Jaylen Brown. Thank God we paid him. I'm so glad he's on our team because he's the only one. I tell you what, Celtics ever get into a real fist fight, he's going to be front and center. That's the only guy that's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, just from like a basketball, that's not a clear out or anything like that. You don't teach kids that's a elbow to the head. That's somebody who's super frustrated because guess what? Their team sucks right now. So Jeff, I don't know if you saw the clip I was just sharing. Jeff, any thoughts on that interaction?
So that looks like something you would see in a professional wrestling ring.
Oh yeah.
That's
literally,
it's absolutely disgusting. I remember, Old Bull, you said during the playoffs last year, basketball is a sport of beauty and grace.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's no place for that. I mean, even in hockey, elbowing like that would be a complete garbage move. I'm glad you pointed that out because I didn't even see that or know that happened.
Great point.
It's ridiculous. And we used to do the pull your hand away thing in high school. So that's incredibly childish. It doesn't make the Bucks look good. Not at all.
Yeah. And I mean, like, okay, if before the game he did it to Jaylen Brown, that's kind of funny. That's like, but that, I mean, after you go and try and take the guy's head off, it's just.
And then you make it look like you're apologizing. You make it look like you're apologizing and you pull that crap.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Shout out to Jaylen Brown for being the bigger man and saying, fine, you know what, whatever, man. I know that wasn't a basketball play. I'll high five you. And then, so now Jaylen Brown's getting, dogged by some national media members, but everybody here in the area and Boston fans see through that garbage. And, the Bucks, they screw the Bucks. I mean, so right now, if you're on your phone and you go to NBA.com and you go to standings, you have to accept the cookies on the website if you want to see the Milwaukee Bucks in the standings because they are so far down. I saw. Yeah, they're 2-8. I saw it on the Celtics subreddit. It's like to see the 76ers and the Bucks in the standings, you have to accept cookies on your phone. They are
guys.
So bad.
I have to pull a playoff Zaka and throw down my ninja smoke bomb and disappear like Zaka does in the playoffs. I have to go. Yeah. You guys continue the show. Jeff, thank you for coming on, but I really appreciate you. Buddy.
Thank you for having me, Old Bull.
Yeah. Appreciate you joining, Jeff. And so Tim showed up. He just made the Celtics want to win even more, and then they did before, and that was a major comeback. The text I was getting from the Old Bull and my buddy Jesse during that game, I was out and about, so I was only able to watch on my phone, and the texts I was getting were giving me the impression we were losing by 50, and at halftime we were losing by 10 at their house. In a game that they desperately needed, and they found a way to lose, and they lost by 6. Giannis missed a free throw at the end. It was a really sweet game, Jeff. If you could find the time to watch the highlights, whenever the Bucks and the Celtics get together, it's like a playoff game no matter what. It's like Maple Leafs and Bruins hockey. It's a good time.
Yeah, I feel like the Bucks are still salty from when the Raptors beat them in the playoffs back in 2019. They haven't gotten over it yet.
Yeah, and the best part about it, we talked about coaching with Monty, but Doc Rivers, he's a basketball terrorist, and he has taken that team that was very good when he got it transferred from the previous coach. I forget the previous coach's name in Milwaukee, and he has found a way to make that team completely garbage. So I'm still excited about the Celtics. No Celtics game tonight, no Bruins game tonight. This is almost the first time in a while we haven't had any Boston sports Do you know who the Bruins are playing next, Jeff?
St. Louis.
Okay. When is that? Tuesday? Tuesday away. Okay. That'll be a good game. So hopefully we can. I don't know who will start in goalie, but hopefully we can come away. Have you watched St. Louis at all? I know it's kind of a, random question.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, they beat the Maple Leafs earlier in the season. It was one that the Leafs were pretty sore about losing because they got blown out. I might be wrong about that. I just thought I heard something about the Leafs. One of their big losses was to St. Louis, but I don't know.
Looking at it, it's going to be a low-scoring game, right? Both the Blues are one of the few teams that have scored less goals than us, only 38 goals in 15 games, and they've given up the exact same goals. So low-scoring games. Not excited about that.
And, I think Tim just got the news. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. They sent Patriots to Providence. Seriously, what the F? I know, Tim. Tim, you know what this means is we got to get some tickets to the Providence Bruins because there's actually somebody I want to watch down there. 1-1 against the Leafs. The Blues are. Okay. So hopefully we can beat this Blues team. I'll tell you my excitement, and Jeff, I'll ask you the same question. On a scale of 1 to 10, watching the Bruins, my excitement, was probably a 7. It dropped down to like a 4. Not seeing Patra out there, just seeing these old, normal, everyday guys. Like these guys are what they are. There's not much potential on the ice right now. My interest has dropped. What's your interest level in the Bruins without Patra out there now?
Oh boy, you know what? I still love watching the Bruins.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the excitement for me comes from when I go into school the next day, because there's a lot of hockey people at school, and the kids love talking about it too. But I'd say the excitement for me is maybe a 5. It was up in the 8 category, and then I just really disagree with the decision, and it sort of it feels like a decision that's just more of the same. And like, what are we doing? I know Old Bulls talked about, focusing on the young kids, and I thought Monty was supposed to be that coach that gave the young kids a chance. That's the future of that team, is the young players and bringing them up and giving them a chance, not sending them away.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way this Bruins team is a better team with Patra in Providence. And if, like the Old Bulls said many times, so you can't say, oh, well, Patra will go get more ice time. The facility's not equal, the conditioning, the staff, the training, the games, all the talent around them, it's all different in Providence. It just kills me to see this, because one of the things I enjoy the most about watching the Bruins is the young talent. So, players you want to get excited about, Elias Lindholm, he's one of the new guys. I'm excited to watch him. I love watching him. But, I love Marchand. But Marchand, Coyle, Zaka, all these guys out there, it's like, yeah, those guys, I think I've watched them in their prime, and it's like, I don't know how much more they're going to show me than what they showed me. So when I turn it on, I love looking for number 51. Where's 51 at? Is he getting power play time? And seeing what he can turn into, because I'm hoping he can be a semblance of what Bergeron is. So I still want to watch the Bruins, Tim said, but my trust in Monty is definitely waning. The team has to figure out how to get out from the Zadorov. Wow, Tim.
Yep.
So Tim is bailing on Zadorov. So, I know you are a Swayman truther, Jeff, and almost all my friends are Swayman truthers. Tim is a Swayman truther as well. And Tim, you're already out on Zadorov. That is, are you out, Jeff? Are you that extreme?
I don't know if I would say out just yet, but I agree with Tim. He has been a massive problem over and over and over every time I seem to watch this year. It's just that same name going to the box for stupid penalties. And I appreciate that he's trying to be that guy, but he's going about it the wrong way. Like, a perfect example was that really garbage hit on Pasta in the Leafs game. I know he sort of turned into it, but then Marchand comes in. He's about half the size of the guy, and he hip throws him to the ice. Like, that was what you'd expect to see from your captain. He took a penalty where we say, yep, that's sticking up for your guy. But Zadorov's penalties just come off as lazy and undisciplined, and it is infuriating.
Yeah, and
So
we got him
with
for
Tim.
6 years. So Zadorov was directly responsible for the first 2 goals by the Sens and committed another stupid minor. Yeah, Tim, I saw the power play. He got nutmegged by the puck right between his legs. I don't know, in the last 10 seconds of the period, how you're chasing the puck and you let the puck go between your legs. And I think Swayman should have had a good opportunity to probably save that. I know it was a super fast one-timer, but the puck went across the ice, and it does suck he got beat. But you're right, Zadorov did not stick to his man. And so I'm curious. Everyone's on Monty, and I'm on Monty as well for a lot of things. I'm wondering how much Monty getting out and the defensive system changing or modifying changes how Zadorov fits into this team, and maybe bringing in a coach that the players can get behind will make it so you have less of these little siloed incidents of players trying to, exert leadership, right? Because maybe they're not getting that in the right places. So I don't know. I'm not giving up on the guy yet. He's an exciting player. He's only 29. $5 million a year is nothing too crazy in the NHL. It looks like he's got 5 points, all assists, +2. 29 penalty minutes is rough though. So, I mean, I feel like penalties is probably the easiest thing to fix. I'd have to look at historically what he was doing. So last year he had 102 penalty minutes in 54 games. That is a lot of penalty minutes.
That is a lot.
That's almost a penalty a game. The year before that, he played in Calgary. He played 21 games, 23 penalty minutes. That's not too bad. Year before that, he had 82 games, 80 minutes. So there's this part of his career, it's an upward trajectory. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm not too in a rush to get rid of him, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to say. Jeff, any other closing thoughts on any of these 3 teams?
I just wanted to kind of put the question out there. What do we think of Mark Kastelik? Because I'm really impressed with him coming over. Like he was this guy that kind of just got tacked on to the Korpisalo thing, and he's paying off for, I think, what the expectation would have been for him. What are your thoughts?
It's like Geeky last year, where we were like, we want to bring up young guys, we don't want these guys, and then you see Geeky's name on the list, and you're like, I don't want this guy. Why don't you have Lysel up here instead of this guy? And Kastelik, I think, is a similar thought process when we were thinking about Lysel, but he's done everything to prove us wrong, that he's completely worth the time. He's worth the spot. And if anything, there's other, guys that we've had, on this team for quite some time. So I'm super excited about Kastelik, and I think he's earned a spot, and I think he's earned kind of nudging out some of the some of the young guys. 1 second. I got to chase this dog. Elizabeth.
Is that the fourth line before Monty broke it up, Tim? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah. He loves the fourth line. You're right. I mean, before he made, I think, some of the worst mixture of lines in that Hurricane game I've ever seen, and it was 8-2 in that Hurricanes game. So, what are your thoughts on that guy? You mentioned you loved him. You're super high on him. Did you remotely anticipate this? Were you sour grapes that he was even getting the playing time he was, like I was with the young guys? Has he won you over, or did you anticipate a Kastelik resurgence?
I think he was a big surprise for me. I didn't even know. Bless you. Sorry, Jasmine sneezing in the background.
No worries.
I just kind of knew about Korpisalo coming in. He was a name I didn't even know until that first game, and I think he scored in that first game, if I remember correctly. Or he did something really, really well. But I'm impressed with just the grit that he's showing so far. He's one of those guys like Patriots that I feel like actually gives 110 out there. I know that's really cliche to say, but he just looks like he's going hard every time. He's kind of getting under the skin of the other team a little bit, and he's a guy that I think you definitely want going forward.
I mean, once the Corpuzalo Olmark trade dropped, I definitely looked this guy up. Right, I didn't realize he was this young. He's only 25, which I think puts him in the young guy category. And 25 is pretty darn young for hockey.
I agree.
And, last year, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points in 7 minutes on ice per game. It just didn't seem like he had it in him. And this year, 7 points in 16 games. He did have that 2-goal game early in the season against the Canadiens. That's a great way to get Bruins fans to love you. And now he's getting 12 minutes on ice. We'll see if Monty decides to send him down to Providence. I don't know. If he better not get 3 giveaways in a game, Monty might ship him. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that's a good call out. And those guys for quite some time, it was almost not worth watching the Bruins offense unless they were on the ice, because the fourth line was the only thing that was moving at all and actually making it enjoyable. So no, I'm glad he's on this team. Good topic. So, all right, I think that's it. I will catch everybody later. This is my new dog. His name is Gus. He's a very good guy. He is a avid New England sports fan.
I can tell.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, and by the way, really good win for the Lions.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
Was that win feel good or no?
Yes, it does. I was very frustrated throughout, I would say 90% of that game. But then, the way it ended, the way they came back, I think they showed a lot of heart and a lot of grit. And the fact that they were able to shut out Houston entirely in the second half, I ended up being really impressed, right? Because I've been really high on my team for the last couple seasons, and I've been a Lions fan for a long time. So this is an exciting time. And then you're watching that going, oh my gosh, everything's unraveling. And I was getting too ahead of myself, but I feel good about it. It was not a great game as far as how we have played, but grit.
Yeah. And, look, if anyone can withstand adversity, it's a Lions fan. So I'm sure you guys weren't sweating it too much. You've seen plenty of 5 interception games.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, go Lions. I'm super happy for you guys. And,
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll